Heidi ho, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Happy Monday, start of a new week. And I feel like the past 72 hours, we need some sort of cleanse. I don't know if we need a colonic or what. There's a lot of stuff that's been popping off on social media. We all need to make sure to keep good balance in our life. Make sure that we mix the real life things with the YouTubey and the Twixy and the TikToky life. Everybody make sure you take deep breaths. This stuff online, it's not real life. Stop making it go into your real life. Just breathe. It's not necessary. Nancy, I am so glad that you caught alive as well. Ooh, that sounded like I said, I'm glad that you were caught alive. That's not really what I meant at all. And Weird Debbie, you also caught alive. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I am intending to go over the beginning of the Kelsey Fitzsimmons case. Basically, what I'm going to be reviewing is the events that have led up to where we are today. I feel like I need to preface all of this with my feelings about the case. I in no way feel any sort of guilt or innocence one way or the other toward Kelsey Fitzsimmons. That is not what this is about. That being said, what has happened to her as of late, I have a lot of feelings and a lot of things to say about it. So, saying that, I don't know what really happened. I'm hoping that if there is a trial, we'll find out exactly what happened, but I don't think we know what that is yet. And so I'd like everyone to keep an open mind. And like I always say, let's be kind to each other. I feel like the last 72 hours, people have forgotten what kindness is. There are allegations and there's stuff flying everywhere. And I'm like, trying to deflect it. Ooh, y'all, it's the Wild West out there. So let's make sure that we don't jump to conclusions. We allow the information and the evidence to come in and then make, I guess, a judgment based on that information. I'm going to say hello to C. Morales. Hello, good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm hoping to be off in an hour so that we can all get to football because Mr. Demeanor's New York Jets are playing tonight. So it's a big night in the Demeanor household. So I'll make sure that we cover as much as we can in as quickly amount of time. And we can get on to the football. It's a doubleheader tonight, too. So I didn't know if y'all know that, but there's going to be 2 games. So without any more delay, let's go ahead and get into the first document here that I am intending on going over. This was an article that was in, oh gosh, I don't remember what paper now. It was probably in, I don't know. I don't even want to guess at this point. This was immediately after the 911 call, the arrest, and all of that information. And I am trying to figure out how to make this daggone thing bigger over here. And I tried even before I went live, and no, of course, I don't know how to do that. So let me try this. That's a little better. Okay. An off-duty police officer in North Andover is recovering after she was shot and wounded during an armed confrontation with police officers trying to serve a restraining order at her home, the district attorney said Tuesday. Officer Kelsey Fitzsimmons, 28, was shot once in the incident on Phillips Brooks Road around 6 p.m. Monday. Essex County District Attorney Paul Tucker said during a press conference on Tuesday. Fitzsimmons, who has been on administrative leave, remains in stable condition after she was flown to a Boston hospital. 3 officers were carrying out a court-ordered restraining order at Fitzsimmons' home when the shooting happened. Fitzsimmons was the subject of the restraining order. When one of the officers was escorting Ms. Fitzsimmons during the service of the court order, an armed confrontation took place. Tucker said, "One of the standard boxes to check is the retrieval of any firearms in the home." Tucker declined to share further details about the restraining order against Fitzsimmons, and the North Andover Police Chief Charles Gray refused to reveal why she was on leave, calling it a personnel matter. Off-duty North Andover officer shot while police were serving. I think that's part of the title. I'm so sorry. It's a critical incident, and like a lot of critical incidents the police officers deal with, we all have our own way of getting through it, whether together or by ourselves, Gray said. Fitzsimmons has been with the North Andover Police Department for about a year and a half. She'll remain on administrative leave, officials said. "We worry deeply about the mental health of our officers." This is the DA. Tucker is stating that. "These are humans. These are police officers who have to make quick decisions. This should not go unnoticed or unappreciated by the public." Boston 25. There you go. That must be where the article is from. Boston 25 News reviewed the restraining order against Fitzsimmons, which was filed by the father of her child. It outlined allegations of domestic abuse. Boston 25 reached out to Fitzsimmons and her family, but didn't hear back. The shooting remains under investigation by state police detectives assigned to Tucker's office. So, it appears initially that Kelsey was, I am not saying this is how I believe. I'm saying this is what the narrative, the information that is coming out. So I don't want anybody jumping my case here. But it appears the narrative or story that is being distributed at this point is that Kelsey has been abusive to her child, and therefore her fiance decided to get a restraining order against her. And then when the police officers came to serve that restraining order and enact it, she went wackadoodles with a gun. That's kind of the gist I'm getting. I don't know if anybody else is picking up on that, but that's what it looks like to me at this point. So we are going to continue on to the next article that I have. So I'm trying to make this as chronological as I possibly could. And so I hope that I have. And look at that. It's like I'm a real content creator, y'all. It's bringing a tear to my eye. Technology is not my friend. So, hey, anytime I can pull through and bam, it happens, I'm a happy girl. So then this was the next article that I came across. Headline is Off-Duty Massachusetts Cop Suspended Weeks After She Was Shot by Fellow Officer in Wild Restraining Order Incident. The Massachusetts cop who was off duty when she was shot after an armed confrontation with her fellow officers trying to serve her a restraining order has been suspended. Kelsey Fitzsimmons, 28, was ordered on Monday to turn in her North Andover police uniform, badge, firearm, and other equipment following the July 1st incident, according to the state's watchdog group. What a beautiful picture of her here as well. If you are just listening, I apologize, but it is a lovely picture of Kelsey. And then we have her with her newborn, another delightful picture. Fitzsimmons, whose lawyer claimed she was suffering from postpartum depression, was charged with armed assault with intent to murder and 2 counts of assault with a dangerous weapon, the Essex County District Attorney's Office said. The restraining order was filed by Fitzsimmons' firefighter fiancé, Justin, doesn't say that in here, but I know that his first name is Justin, who wrote in the disturbing application that he feared, and in quotes, she will kill the baby at any moment. More pictures of the lovely Ms. Fitzsimmons. The 28-year-old was only with the department for about 18 months before her fellow officers were called to present her the abuse prevention restraining order. The groom-to-be said he was afraid Fitzsimmons would kill their 4-month-old son and herself following a series of disturbing incidents and apparent disconcerting warnings from the new mom. Quotes, quote, Kelsey is threatening to take the baby far, far, far away for a long, long time. This is how she has spoken about unaliving herself in the past, he said. Also in quotes, she punched her stomach repeatedly while pregnant, saying she would unalive herself and the baby, the fiancé said. And there is a beautiful picture of Kelsey, her newborn, and the fiancé in this picture. And I'm going to scroll on through these other photographs. The firefighter alerted police that Fitzsimmons, who had previously been committed to a hospital for postpartum depression, would not take it well when they presented her with the restraining order. I would think if I had not actually been abusive, I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm thinking I'm not going to take it well. I'm not going to take it well at all. So I think that is accurate. Good job there on the fiancé's part. I think that it's not likely going to go super well. The warning provided prophetic as Fitzsimmons engaged in an armed confrontation with 3 officers who arrived at her home on July 1st to present her with the restraining order. The off-duty cop was shot in the chest during the conflict and remains in grave condition, according to her lawyer, Timothy Bradle. Bradle claimed Fitzsimmons was suffering from mental health issues and has been the victim of a smear campaign accusing North Andover police of missing her cries for help and botching the July 1st encounter. She was confronted by 3 men from her department, and in an instant, her baby, her job, and her future with her fiancé were all taken from her, Bradle said in a statement. The attorney indicated that his client plans to fight the charges. Fitzsimmons has not yet been formally charged. So at this particular time, there was not an actual charge by the district attorney's office. We are still in the, I guess you would call it, fact-finding mission at this point. Hello, Ruby C, lurking and listening. Not a problem whatsoever. I will try to be as descriptive as possible. So now we're going to head into possibly some new details that might shed, hopefully, a little bit more light on this. I need to get to a great spot. Bear with me. I'm trying desperately to find which article this is, so bear with me for just a moment. Let's take a peek here. Oh, for heaven's sake, Janet. I'm not sure if this is the right one or not. We're going to take a peek here and look. Yay. Well, no, not yay. That is not the one I want. Let's remove that. And my sincere apologies. There it is. It was just hiding a little bit on misdemeanor here. Okay, so new details revealed after arraignment for officer shot in North Andover custody confrontation. Kelsey Fitzsimmons pleaded not guilty Thursday to charges of armed assault with intent to murder and assault with a dangerous weapon in connection to the June 30th armed confrontation that left her wounded. Funny, I thought they said it happened on July 1st. I'm already confused. The off-duty police officer shot at her home by a fellow North Andover, Massachusetts officer in a confrontation has pleaded not guilty to the charges she's facing in connection with the incident that occurred in late June. Kelsey Fitzsimmons, 28 of North Andover, was arraigned Thursday on charges of armed assault with intent to murder and 2 counts of assault with a dangerous weapon, the Essex County District Attorney's Office said. Fitzsimmons appeared at the Lawrence District Court arraignment virtually from the hospital where she is being treated. She was ordered held without bail on dangerousness, the DA's office said. Fitzsimmons is allowed to remain in the hospital to continue receiving treatment. Judge Carol Ann Fraser, not the judge that we know she saw in September, said she would revisit her order if a suitable release plan was presented to her that ensures the safety of the community. And then we get to North Andover officer speaks after being shot in confrontation with officer. Weeks after she was shot by a colleague while off duty for which she's facing charges, North Andover police officer Kelsey Fitzsimmons released a statement on what happened. Police had previously shared some details about the shooting, but not many beyond the specifics of what happened in the armed confrontation. Court documents obtained by NBC 10 Boston on Friday have revealed additional details about the night in question. According to a statement of facts sheet submitted to Lawrence District Court, Fitzsimmons' fiancé had sought and was granted an abuse prevention order out of Essex Probate and Family Court after she allegedly assaulted him over the weekend, causing him to fear her and also fear that she would hurt their 4-month-old child if he were to leave her. Fitzsimmons had allegedly assaulted her fiancé in the past as well. Police were at her Phillipsbrook Road home that night to serve Fitzsimmons with a restraining order and to inform her that her fiancé was obtaining court-ordered custody of their child. As Fitzsimmons was gathering her infant's belongings, including diapers and clothes, she went up to the second floor of the house, escorted by 2 officers. When she learned her fiancé had arrived to collect his belongings, she asked one of the officers to keep her fiancé away from her. So that officer went downstairs, leaving Fitzsimmons and just one other officer, documents show. A lieutenant who was on the first floor at the time of the incident said in an interview on July 2nd that he heard the officer who was upstairs yell, "Kelsey, don't do it! Kelsey, don't do it!" followed by 2 gunshots, according to the court documents. Officers immediately began administering aid to Fitzsimmons. While medics were treating her, the officer who shot Fitzsimmons told the lieutenant that prior to the shooting, Fitzsimmons had pointed a firearm at her, which is when he then shot her. In another interview on July 3rd, the officer who had gone downstairs just before Fitzsimmons was shot said that she had told police that all of her firearms were locked in a safe in the basement. He said moments after he went downstairs, he heard the officer who was upstairs scream, "Kelsey," followed by 2 gunshots. He immediately ran upstairs, saw Fitzsimmons laying on the ground, and asked the officer what happened. That officer stated that Fitzsimmons pointed a firearm at him, pulled the trigger, and then racked a round of ammunition, according to the court documents. Y'all, that's a lot of time. I don't know if I have any gun owners or users in the chat or watching. I happen to be a very happily card carrying, carry conceal permit gun owner. Happy to say that I am. I am very interested in keeping myself safe. So knowing how long it takes to do all of those things, even if you're a very well-trained police officer, it takes a hot second or two for you to get all that done. Just saying, kind of got a question about that, since it takes a bit. I don't, it's not like it would have been a completely split second decision. That's what I guess I'm trying to lay down there. Hope you're picking up what I'm laying down. I will continue now, since I have digressed for a moment or two. The officer who shot Fitzsimmons was also interviewed on July 2nd, at which time he provided a statement that was similar to the other officer and lieutenant who were in the home when the incident occurred. According to the officers, Fitzsimmons was packing clothes and books for her child, kneeling on the ground, folding laundry in her bedroom while he was standing in the doorway. The officer told detectives that he saw Fitzsimmons face towards him, lunge toward an area behind the door, and then reappear pointing a firearm directly at him. He said Fitzsimmons pulled the trigger and he heard the firearm click, but no sound was fired. According to the documents, the officer told detectives that Fitzsimmons then began to stand up as he pulled his firearm out of its holster. Fitzsimmons then began to rack the firearm to chamber around, and he gave several commands such as drop the gun and don't do it. He said at this point, he knew Fitzsimmons was trying to kill him. He then fired one round, and Fitzsimmons continued trying to chamber around, so he fired a second round, striking her. The North Andover police officer shot by another officer during an altercation while she was off duty has been identified. This is a prior article. So, yeah, I got some stuff to say about that. We need to back this up a little bit and talk for a moment or two, if we could, just amongst friends. All you chickadees that came to hang out with me tonight, thank you so much. Let's talk about, he said, I'm trying to find it where I'm faced towards him. That's what I'm looking for. Well, he was standing in the doorway. The officer told detectives that he saw Fitzsimmons face toward him, lunge toward an area behind the door, and then reappear pointing a firearm directly at him. Y'all, I don't really care how large this police officer is that was trying to serve this warrant. Kelsey Fitzsimmons, she looks like she's not a large person. Why didn't he prevent her from going behind the door? Why wasn't there something done at that point? Why was he just giving her free rein if she lunged? That seems like a suspicious type of activity that you would immediately be on high alert. There's my first question. Then it goes on to say, Fitzsimmons pulled the trigger and he heard the firearm click, but no round was fired. According to the documents, the officer told detectives that Fitzsimmons then began to stand up as he pulled his firearm out of its holster. I hope you all are trying to envision what this looks like in your head as it's happening, as the story's being told, because that's definitely what I'm doing. Fitzsimmons then began to rack the firearm to chamber around, and he gave several commands such as drop the gun and don't do it. He said at this point, he knew Fitzsimmons was trying to kill him. He then fired one round, and Fitzsimmons continued trying to chamber around, so he fired a second round, striking her. Where'd the first round go? Has anybody heard anything about where the first round went? Is there evidence? Has there been any sort of report as to where that errant bullet went? Am I the only one that has that question? I don't feel like that I should be the only one that has that question. And yes, Jen T27, I am so glad more people are shining the light on this. That judge's behavior was horrendous. Unfortunately, we in Massachusetts know it all too well. I am so sorry. I truly am so sorry. And all I can do is use my voice to hopefully get more eyes on what is happening. That's the best I can do at this point. So, 2 shots. One, we don't know where one went. That's a little scary to even think about. And the second one hit her in the chest. It just feels like there was a lot of stuff trying to happen at one time. And if you're racking a gun to load it, to be able to take a shot, even if you're a professional, I keep coming back to this, even if you're a professional, it takes a hot second for that to happen. Oh, and Vanessa is saying, I don't think I've heard a second shot confirmed, only rumors. X heard multiple shots from garage. Well, there would be multiple shots. Well, no, she never actually fired her firearm. So it could only have been a click and then whatever happened after that. According to what this is saying, the statement says, how does it say? According to the documents, the officer told detectives that Fitzsimmons then began to stand up. So this is straight from the documents. So I already got a lot of questions. Too many questions. Everybody hydrate yourself. I am going to be taking a drink. Everybody hydrate. It's important. All righty. Let us now go to, I think it's super, super important to also read the entirety of Kelsey's statement. So that is what I'm going to do next. Let's see how my computer and my technology capabilities are. Let's just see how this unfolds this time. I feel like I'm getting a little better at this as I do it more and more. There we go. Oh, this one I think I can probably zoom me up. Let's see. Oh, looky there. Oh, like I'm a real YouTuber. Look at that. Okay. So this is the actual statement that Kelsey Fitzsimmons put out. I'm going to be doing a lot of reading. I'm going to hydrate one more time. All righty. The first section here is, I believe, from Mr. Bradle's office. And so I'm just going to go right straight to Kelsey's statement. I think that's important. My name is Kelsey Fitzsimmons, and as I recover in my hospital bed, I am ready to speak about the incident that took place on June 30th, 2025 in my own home where I almost lost my life. I was diagnosed with postpartum depression in March of 2025, approximately 3 weeks after giving birth to my beautiful baby boy. I have actively been in treatment since the day of my diagnosis and was eager to heal and feel like myself again. Unfortunately, healing a sickness does not happen overnight. However, what can happen overnight is my life turning upside down into something so horrible, my mind wouldn't even be able to imagine it if it weren't my current reality. Someone who I thought understood my diagnosis, loved me in sickness and in health, and was in my corner for the journey of my active treatment to get better, turned their back on me. Said person is now legally bullying me to get what they want, slandering my character and using my diagnosis against me to make me seem like I am a monster. There are more false allegations than I can even comment on. The deep love I have for my baby boy sustains me and keeps me strong. I haven't spent more than a night away from him since I delivered him, and I adore every moment I spend with him. He's my best friend, my miracle, my little man, my sweet boy, and most importantly, a giant piece of my heart. Right now, that piece of my heart is missing when I need it the most. I am 5 months postpartum without my baby boy who needs me as much as I need him. I would never put that angel of a child in harm's way. My job as his mama is to protect him, and that is what I have always done and will continue to do for the rest of my life. Becoming a mother has always been my dream, and I never made any threats toward my baby. That allegation specifically makes me sick to my stomach. I was alone with my baby day in and day out for months, caring for him as my fiance frequently worked 24 to 48-hour shifts, but conveniently, there were never any concerns up until now. On June 30th, 2025, I received a phone call from my fiance to meet him at the park to go for a walk with our baby boy together. After almost 3 hours of waiting for him at the park, girls got way more patience than Ms. Demeanor. Y'all, I ain't waiting 3 hours for nobody. Well, maybe my son. Anyway, after almost 3 hours of waiting for him at the park and no communication from him, I went home very confused as he never showed up. I just have to pause for a moment because y'all, 3 hours, that's a long time. If my husband was supposed to meet me someplace and 3 hours went by, I would have the National Guard out looking for him. I would be checking my text messages because I have the whole location thing, you know. I'm like, is he dead in a ditch? What the heck is going on? This is all odd. This is strange to me. Am I the only one? Am I the only one that thinks this is strange? I think that's odd that you would not hear from someone that you were expecting and you let 3 hours go by. I don't know. Maybe I'm the odd one, but to me, I would have a lot of, there'd be stuff happening to try to find out where Mr. Demeanor was. I just got to tell you. About an hour later, I was sitting on my couch feeding my baby boy when I got a knock on my front door. Very confused to see 3 of my colleagues. I opened the door and I am told the following. Your fiance has filed a restraining order against you. He will be taking your son away with no contact allowed. Your firearms license that was just returned is gone again. And oh yeah, that career you worked so hard for in love that you were just cleared to return to, that will be taken away too. Following this interaction, I packed bags containing baby food, clothes, diapers, toys, etc. for my son to be taken away from me. I passed my son off to a fellow police officer and I went into my bedroom. In that horrible moment, I didn't want to live after my whole world was turned upside down in the matter of a 10-second conversation due to someone alleging horrible, untrue things. KS Granny. No way would I wait that long for a guy. Kids maybe, but in the advent of cell phones, I would have started texting. KS Granny, I'm right there with you. I'm telling you, National Guard. I start a couple of times. Too much time goes by. I'm on it. I am like Columbo, looking to find you. It wouldn't take that long. I digress again. We have a broken legal system where someone can walk into a courthouse, write anything that self-serves them on an affidavit, and as a result, a brand new mother suffering with postpartum depression gets her baby taken away. We are calling on the legislature and the governor to reform this abomination of a statute where the first person to get to court and fill out a form can take a mother's newborn away from her if they can sneak in front of a judge without the mother's notice or opportunity to be heard. If there is an immediate issue, someone can call 911. The courts are not equipped for proper on-the-spot decision-making in this context without hearing from both sides. As a police officer, I am trained to know what to do if I encounter a suicidal individual who is only displaying a threat to themselves. I certainly was not trained to shoot a suicidal person in the chest. But here I am today, 2 surgeries later, bedridden and trying really hard to heal from these significant injuries. I am facing felony charges for a half-hearted attempt to take my own life. Let me say that again. I am in trouble and have a gunshot wound to my chest because in that awful, isolated moment, I no longer had the will to live. I never pointed my firearm at the officer. That officer was not just a colleague, he was my friend. That officer and I experienced a very difficult and sad call for service together last summer. That call for service that day was a true tragedy and caused this officer and I to build a friendship due to experiencing it together. We entered the home and walked into something no human being should ever see. A murder-suicide scene with a mother and her infant. As a rookie police officer, this was devastating to me. At the time, I was 20 weeks pregnant. The officer that shot me experienced this call with me. To this day, his support during that hard time is something I am still grateful for, regardless of this recent incident that occurred. This traumatic murder-suicide call was the catalyst for my mental health complications. Yeah. If any of you have followed me for any period of time, you know, there are certain cases I won't follow, and it's because it has to do with children and or animals. I don't do animals. I don't do children. And children can be a variety of things, but definitely in her situation, seeing that, I cannot imagine how devastating that must have been for her mental health. So my heart goes out to Kelsey and all law enforcement for all of the hideous things that they have to endure while on the job. It's not easy. And that's why when you have people like former Trooper Michael Proctor pulling the ridiculousness that he has, it's so devastating because it affects not just his career, but it affects all of the really good law enforcement officers that are out there trying to do the right thing. As a police officer myself, I would never even think to intentionally hurt another police officer. I see everyone in uniform as my brothers and sisters. I especially would never hurt my friend. My friend who has a loving wife and children, I just would never. My firearm was never pointed in any direction other than my temple. When I pulled the trigger, my gun did not fire. However, I immediately got shot in the chest by my colleague and friend. I'm extremely grateful for 2 things: that God protected me from my attempt of taking my own life and protected me by millimeters from dying from that gunshot wound to my chest. I will survive and thrive. I know I need to be on this earth for many reasons, but most importantly, my beautiful son. This is my covenant with God and my son. I would also like to note that from the very beginning, I acknowledged my diagnosis of postpartum depression and immediately sought help from medical professionals. I was failed by so many. The narrative that has been released by the NAPD is vague and non-committal for a reason. If body cameras were worn by my department, I would not be in a position where I am wrongly accused of pointing my gun at this officer. I know the truth will prevail. Well, that's a lot. That's a lot. Why don't they have body cameras? What? There's a lot of money in Massachusetts. What in the world? Why do all these police departments not have any flippin' body cams? What is going on? Y'all, I can't take the lack of funding for things that are important. Police officers get paid unbelievable amounts of cash up there, but you don't pay your public defenders properly, and you don't pay clearly for equipment. You live up there, you need to be loud and proud and be making a big old deal about this, because this is a big deal to have your taxpayer money being spent on farcical allegations and then not have your money spent on police equipment? Do they not have them? Do they? What? Somebody help me out. No, they got federal funding for body cams. We need to know why they didn't get them. Shut the front door. Get out of town. What? What is happening? $120,000 grant for body cams a couple years ago. The chief doesn't want body cams. I got to tell you something. Ages and ages and ages ago, my father was the head of the transportation department where I grew up in my little hometown. And my dad, if you've listened to me talk about my dad, and I think I discussed him with Lady Zelda last week, but he was way ahead of his time. And my father in the 80s, y'all, put video cameras in school buses, not to watch the kids. It was to protect the drivers. So if there was an incident, they would be able to pull it up and see exactly what happened. It's not necessarily to try to catch the bad guy. It's to protect your bahunkus in case things go sideways. What part of this are you not getting? Oh, I get heated. Yes. My dad, if I could be 25% as intelligent as my father, then I will call my life a victory. Absolutely. He was phenomenal, way beyond his years, way beyond. KS Granny, I don't understand why they didn't get them. Get rid of the chief. It's for their protection unless they are covering up all kinds of incidents. Well, that's what it leads me to believe. If you have nothing to cover up, you welcome it. So why don't we have them? Christine Life by the Sea says there's clearly body cams of officers who arrested Karen Reed. There are videos showing out there. Have you seen them? Oh, yeah. So what the heck is happening? I don't know. And yes, Vanessa, exactly. Hold the drivers accountable. And it was a time that things were starting to change a little bit in student behavior compared to authority. And we've seen a lot more of that now. So yes, it was to protect everybody. And it was used multiple times when incidents came up, and probably some of the best money that was ever spent in the school system at that time. You're right. It is so odd. Why did the ex-fiance lure her out of her home to the park? Well, because he had to go get the restraining order. I agree. It's not odd. It's well planned, well thought out. So now I'm kind of starting, as I get more information, I'm starting to get on Kelsey's side here, where I'm like, well, this is a coinky dinky. Why do we have such a coinky dinky moment here? So I am going to proceed on to the next item. Let's see, because I think this may have been what I'm looking for is when she was arraigned, possibly. Let's see what this looks like here. Yep. Appeared in court. This is the original hearing. Kelsey Fitzsimmons, a North Andover police officer who was shot by a fellow member of the department who was serving a restraining order against her in July, remains hospitalized and held in police custody following a Thursday hearing. During the dangerousness hearing, Fitzsimmons' attorney denied that she pointed her service weapon at the officer who shot her inside her home. She's pleaded not guilty to charges of armed assault with intent to murder and 2 counts of assault with a dangerous weapon. Prosecutors say that Fitzsimmons' fiance filed a restraining order hours before she was shot, fearing for the safety of their child. Defense attorney Timothy Bradel said that Fitzsimmons' fiance had asked her to meet in a public park to reconcile their issues, but never showed up, and instead filed the restraining order. Sounds like a great guy. Bradel argued that led to the entire incident later in the evening. Prosecutors allege that when North Andover police officers arrived to serve the restraining order, Fitzsimmons told them her weapons were stored safely in the basement, but they say that she then reached for her service weapon and pulled the trigger. Prosecutors said there was no round, so the gun clicked but did not fire. When Fitzsimmons attempted to load a round into the chamber, an officer said he yelled, "Don't do it, don't do it." The officer then fired once and missed before firing a second time and hitting Fitzsimmons in the chest. There it is again. Where did that other shot go? No one's talking about the other shot. Oh, look at Kelsey. She just looks so pitiful in this picture. I feel so bad. I don't know if has this been confirmed that she was pregnant when she was shot and miscarried? I haven't gotten confirmation on that. But waiting 3 hours with an infant. Yeah. Like, I got questions. Like, my math ain't mathing with some of this. Yeah, these are all things I want to find out in, say, like, I don't know, a trial or something like that. Maybe we could get some charging documents or something. I'm not sure. So I'll continue. Fitzsimmons' defense attorneys say she was struggling with postpartum depression. Bradel argued Thursday that Fitzsimmons never pointed the gun at her fellow officer and never made misleading statements about where her weapons were stored in the home. She would never point gun at fellow officer, attorney says. Bradel said previously that Fitzsimmons was contemplating taking her own life with the gun, not harming the officer who shot her. During Thursday's hearing, prosecutors attempted to convince the judge to continue holding Fitzsimmons without bail, calling her a danger to herself, her child, her fiance, and the community at large. I don't find her to be a harm to me, even if I lived there. The prosecutor alleged that Fitzsimmons has a violent temper even before she gave birth. I'm going to need facts. Bradel said there is no evidence to support the North Andover officer's claim that Fitzsimmons pointed a gun at him and there were no body cameras that recorded the incident. Ding, ding, there you have it. Great. We think this was a brain freeze, Your Honor, that's covered up by the statement. She pointed the gun at me. She would never do that. She's a fellow law enforcement officer. She deserves some deference, Bradel said. Officer Kelsey Fitzsimmons remains hospitalized. Fitzsimmons remains at Mass General Hospital being treated for her injuries. Bradel said she will likely be medically cleared for release within days. He said that on August 8th, the Mass General doctor determined that Fitzsimmons did not fit the definition of someone who is in danger to is a danger due to mental illness. The doctor, Bradel said, determined that Fitzsimmons should be reunited with her child. Yeah, I'd say so. That might do a whole lot for her mental well-being. Bradel asked the judge to allow Fitzsimmons, when discharged from the hospital, to be released from custody so she can receive therapy and continue to work with Mass General doctors. This was a transient episode that was brought on by an unimaginable confluence of events for Kelsey, and it's over, it's gone, and she's fine, and that's what the court needs to understand, Bradel said outside court. The judge said that Fitzsimmons will continue to be held until she will make a ruling at a later time. Later time. Okay, ask Granny. Who called the police? Well, the police would have been there when the shots were fired. And I'm guessing that the fiancé must have requested law enforcement serve the restraining order to her, and that's why they were there. I'm not sure how it's done in Massachusetts. I unfortunately had to have a restraining order put on an individual years and years and years ago, prior to Mr. Demeanor. And I don't remember. I had a friend. No, I don't remember if he was actually served anything or how that all happened. But I can tell you the day it was for 1 year. And 1 year and 1 day, he made contact with me. And so I had a police officer friend that I rang up and he said, I'll go talk to him. I was engaged to Mr. Demeanor at the time. So my life, I was moving on and happy as a clam. So, but yeah. I hope that answers your question, KS Granny, who called the police. I think it was it was a setup. I hate to say that word, but a setup to make sure that she would there would be law enforcement there for it. Apparently he was afraid. Yeah. Agreed. Where that makes sense. Where I live, the sheriff's office served the population. Yes. Hydrate, everybody. All righty. Moving on to our next piece of information. Let's see. I hope I have these in the right order. So. Oh, goodness. I am not sure. There we go. So at the top here, these were added after the fact. Those were added in mid-August. So this top one is not. Judge considering that's commentary or editorial, somebody that made comments. All right, down here we go. The North Andover police officer accused of pointing her gun at another officer in a June incident appeared in court virtually on Thursday for a dangerousness hearing. We know all about this stuff. I'm trying to get to the crux of. Says she is extremely adamant that it never happened. She said she did not do that, Bradel said. We don't believe Kelsey pointed her gun at anyone except herself. That's not a danger that warrants deadly force. According to court documents, Fitzsimmons was hospitalized after she was diagnosed with postpartum depression early in 2025. We know all of this. Kill the baby at any moment. The judge here we go. The judge, let me back up. Bradel says Fitzsimmons has been getting the help she needs, reporting that multiple doctors say she is doing well and is no longer a danger to herself or others. Fitzsimmons is facing charges of armed assault with intent to murder and 2 counts of assault with a dangerous weapon. The judge in Fitzsimmons' case says she will go through all the documents before making a decision on bail. So there we have that little piece. Still mulling it over. It's mid-August, trying to decide. Sorry about that. Trying to decide what they're going to do within her case. Moving on, and then I think we get closer and closer to the enraging part of all of this. Whoa. I think this is what I'm looking. Oh, no, that's not the right one. I am looking for. Yeah, this is when Crazy Town started to happen, because she was initially given. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. As you all are probably aware, what happened later on, I think. Yeah, here we go. And Virginia says, as a Massachusetts resident, I'm still confused as to why there was not a DCF rep there as well. DCF, Department of something. DCF. Y'all help me. I don't do well with the alphabet soups. And Virginia is also saying in Massachusetts, a restraining order is served by the police department. Well, that makes sense. All righty. Well, Child and Family, Department of Child and Family. Yeah. The whole thing. I mean, y'all, I'm in no way saying that this is like Karen Reed, but it is having a Karen Reed-esque feel about shadiness. There's suspicious behavior happening, and you all know, I always say, if you aren't guilty, don't act guilty. Just act innocent. Just do what you're supposed to do. But I'm thinking the more information I get about this, something's rotten in Denmark. That's what it looks like to me. So why didn't we have the appropriate parties there? What were we doing? Why has this case why is it being handled the way that it has been? And it's so funny, Virginia, that you put this up here, because I was just getting ready to say, Virginia put up follow the money also. I was just getting ready to say, who does Justin know? What connections does Justin have? Because it's starting to sniff that way to me. So we all know, I believe, what happened next. And that is, she went to a hearing, and I don't know what you're never minding, Nancy. Department of Family Service. She went to the hearing and talked about the fact that she could not do the breathalyzer, basically is what they're asking her to do, several times a day, because she has broken ribs. And good old Judge Naaman, I've said it before, she said to old Judge Bev Canoni Baloney, girl, hold my White Claw. I got something to do. Hello, the Goodmans. I see you in so many other places. Welcome. Happy to have you. fractured ribs, but oh no, 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 no. Let's go ahead and make you try to hold your breath and then blow really hard. In the world? Yeah. Yeah. Jay Cornish says, hey, Ms. D, something smells really bad. Smells like poo. Smells like what Kelsey was having to deal with her diaper changes with the little one. Poo. And yes, I saw that fiance's lawyer has already filed for full custody. I also saw that he is requesting ownership of the home or something to that effect. I don't think we need to go through what happened in that last hearing with Judge Naaman. I'm beyond about it. I will continue to follow this case because I don't like seeing fairness not being applied, especially when there's a choice. There's a choice to actually do the right thing. It doesn't look like it's happening. And so that's part of the reason I'm following the Brian Walsh case. I'll be honest, before I've seen all of the evidence in that case, I'm pretty sure that Brian Walsh, he offed his wife. I think Anna is his responsibility. But I am anxious and curious to see how things unfold in a trial. So I will definitely be watching that one very closely. Hello, Broken Baker. Yay, so happy you came to hang out for a little while. Massachusetts and the right thing can't be in the same sentence? Well, maybe we can fix that over time. Maybe we can. I will definitely be following Brian Walsh. In fact, my intention is to do kind of this same sort of how did we get here type of live stream on Wednesday in reference to the Brian Walsh case. Couple updates. I did see that there's more information on Lakin Snelling. Did anyone see the whole Lakin Snelling update? There is some really, really disturbing evidence in that case. And probably next week, I'm thinking of one of my live streams will be on the Lakin Snelling case, just to kind of go over things. And I know I've promised you all that we'll do a deep dive into Courtney Clenny before her trial starts. Her trial does not start until December, the beginning of December. So we've got some time on that. And tonight, oh no, so nasty. Her neighbor heard stuff. Oh gosh, I hate that. And yes, Broken Baker is letting us know that the fiance did get custody of the child. So with that being said, tonight, I don't know if you all saw, I twixt it. That's what Lady Zelda calls it. I am totally stealing that from her. That Death in Apartment 603. Anyone that has followed any of my other videos should know about Ellen Greenberg. There is a documentary coming out tonight on Hulu about Ellen Greenberg's case. Please, please tell as many people as you possibly can about that case. And please, if you can donate any money, if you buy Nancy Grace's book, the proceeds of the sale of that book goes directly to Ellen Greenberg's mother and father. So I can't say enough about trying to help them get the justice that they so deserve in Pennsylvania. So make sure, hop on and find out about that. And I think it's time to go watch football. And I have to get ready for my Jets, That's for Mr. Demeanor. We have to be nice about these things. Y'all know I'm mad Detroit Lions fan. So, but I'm happy to cheer my husband's team on as well. So, as I bid you adieu, remember to always, always find someone to do something nice for today if you haven't already, because it doesn't cost a penny to be kind. And as always, make good choices. Bye, all. Until next time.